It's real easy. If you could just tell me your name and spell it. Go ahead.
Scott Trappe. Trappe.
Okay, that way I get your levels all adjusted. And Scott, you're a doctoral student?
Yep, correct.
So it's exact correct. A good title to say?
Doctoral fellow.
Doctoral fellow. Thank
Yeah.
you. That's even better. That sounds
Kind of
good.
takes the blemish out of student.
Yeah. And we're gonna try this. If you just kind of hold still, don't move your feet.
Nope. All right.
Good. And if you just look at me and talk to me.
All right.
All right. There's several things I want to talk about. Some generic stuff about
Okay.
the lab and everything. Did you do your undergraduate here?
No, I did not.
What attracted you to Ball State?
Really, the director of the lab himself, Dr. David Costel. He's internationally and world renowned for his works and what he does, and I basically came here so I could work under his supervision.
So he's got quite a reputation, I guess.
Yeah, if most of the people involved direct within the field, they know who he is, and there's a fair amount of people that aren't directly involved with the field who know who he is as well.
But it's him and the lab, I guess, the reputation.
Yeah, with him, obviously, the reputation of the lab comes along with it, and it started out in '66. He started in a gym closet off of one of the gyms, and it's grown into a 20,000 plus square foot facility, which houses its own biochemistry lab and testing facilities. So we're pretty much in-house operation where we can do what we need to do, everything inside the lab.
What do you expect to do? How long are you going to be here? This is a long project. I don't know if you're going to be able to follow it through or not.
Right. The project's, the shuttle flight is scheduled to fly February 22nd of '96. Obviously, that's up to different things that are, we don't know if it'll fly then or not. But
will you still be here then?
well, I finished my degree in May, and then I'm going to be on here specifically working with this project. So depending on the time frame that's involved, I'll be with it for a while.
Did you ever think you'd be working with NASA?
I guess it's hard to say what you're ever going to be doing in the future. I don't say I laid around and thought that I would or wouldn't, but it's just one of those things that came along.
What kind of is your goals? I mean, after you graduate, outside the NASA things, what do you plan to do, or what will your degree allow you to do?
Well, basically, I'm going to be trained to do research in human bioenergetics, exercise physiology, people's responses to exercise, and I'd like to continue that own track myself. The most logical setting at this time point would be a university setting and attract outside funding and support from the university to do research involving exercise.
And you can be repetitive here, that's fine. So, because we're just going to take a short segment. Again, back to why did you choose Ball State, I guess, so this program?
It's the most applied program that I'm aware of in the country, if not the world. I have a sports background, I'm into applied research, and they really take from a research perspective and apply it to common everyday type events or exercise, which makes it very enjoyable to do, dealing with humans on a daily basis versus strictly an animal model, which is sometimes advantageous. However, dealing with the humans is an aspect I enjoy.
Oh, that's interesting. Good. So is this a rare lab that does that then?
Oh, not really, but I mean, there's not setups like this, all over the country or the state or whatever. This facility, the people within the facility, and the equipment within the facility is rare.
Oh, specifically about the NASA project, I understand that you've been working to develop a device that we'll see in a minute that is designed to particularly test something. What are some of the things you're going through as far as getting something for NASA, I guess?
One of the aspects we're looking at is we're trying to design a unit that will actually fly in the shuttle. Right now we're in the first stages of building a prototype. We want to isolate the calf muscle group, that being the gastroc and the soleus muscles, to look at the specific response of the muscle function in an environment such as space, how the muscle responds to weightlessness. And we're actually going to look at the muscle, look at single fiber cell function and how that changes in response to a microgravity environment.
And what is the ultimate goal, I guess, to help people, for example, on the space station, I guess?
Well, potentially, NASA, one of NASA's goals is for space station freedom, and they have a fair amount of muscle data involving animal models. We're curious to see if the human model responds similarly, and what are the specific adaptations that occur in a weightlessness environment, and what type of things can you do to deter the negative effects which occur to the muscle.
Obviously, you were attracted to Ball State from the previous reputation. What will this do to the reputation of the lab, the project with NASA?
Well, it depends on how many people get involved, becomes with. I think the track record of the lab itself is already established. I think the addition of NASA, I don't think it overrides the aura that already is associated with the lab itself. I mean, it obviously doesn't hurt. People are obviously intrigued by it, and we get a fair amount of phone calls and inquiries about what we're doing with the NASA program. I think some of the aura that's associated with NASA or the space or whatever, to take it down to like a micro level, is some of the same types of things that this lab kind of represents for the specific field it's in. I mean, the general public can associate with the shuttle or the spacecraft going to space. One of the reasons I came here is I felt I could associate with a lot of the research and adaptation and application that was coming out of here.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add? Say about, again, I'm trying to get specifically a perspective from a student standpoint.
Right.
We heard from Dr. Kostel, I have the tape that I'm using.
Right.
From your standpoint, your perspective of why the lab is successful, why you chose this, and then that was perfect.
Sure.
You tied in NASA as well.
Well, I think one of the unique aspects is the size of the lab. There's a fair amount of students here, and we're not isolated. We all work together, and you develop a lot of friendships while you're here, and you also have a lot of chance to share knowledge, and you don't have to do everything on your own. It's kind of a team approach to the entire thing, and I think that carries on. And when you advance beyond this level and you're in the field of your own, you've met a lot of people here that continue on, that are successful, that you know as well, and the association that you made and had while you were here at the laboratory.
Very good. Good point. Anything else? Does that sound good?
That's fine.
We'll just go ahead and do that. Go right ahead. Just ask him to do something. Have you done this before?
Yeah. Oh man,
Quite a few times.
So many times. Yeah.
They get very secure.
So,
Whole point, this whole thing, we don't want any compression on the muscle group involved. So we have everything basically attached to the front side of the leg. So this muscle group remains free.
Can you just, is there another one that right behind you? Throw it on my toe or? You need to keep the wire. Turn it over.
Start with your hand out. Okay, go ahead. And then he's resisting.
He's pushing as hard as he can, and that will only move so fast.
Okay.
So then we're measuring the force that he's producing with the muscle group.
So.
And so you're able to know how strong the muscle is by
How much force you use?
Okay.
Oh.
Thank you.
My anterior. I'm gonna actually loosen this up just a bit. That'll give me a little bit of relief.
See those numbers turning there. Keep going. Why don't you go ahead and do that? Will you be able to have preset guides on there so each astronaut will know where to adjust it for themselves?
Yeah. These things are these.
Sure.
Be
Kind of like the, you know, the seats on the exercise bike. Kind of like, oh, put it on number 6.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
All right, you want to hold it right there in that position? See if this is good. Okay, go ahead. And one more.
I can't figure out.
Good. That's on the pullback. That's when he's pointing his toe, and that's when he pulls it back. Points his toe, pulls it back, points his toe.
It's because you have about 4 or 5 muscles behind, and you only have 1 or 2 up front.
So more to push.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
Larger
That makes sense because you don't pull when you're walking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the whole basis.
If he does that, will I see that move, or is that just a chart? Okay.
We can get it on time.
Yeah.
No, this thing isn't totally tight. It's that big unit's not tight up there.
It makes it look like it's hard. That's what I need to see. Okay.